Brutality is pretty much the lifeblood of the UFC. Sure, these days we've got celebrity boxers and MMA fighters with their nice, smooth skin and Instagram smiles. But back in the day, oh man, the punches were so vicious, you'd be picking up your jaw off the floor. Or maybe even throwing up a little. Broken teeth, shattered ribs, dislocated spines. You name it, it happened. Today's fighters might get knocked out fast, but back then, one punch could send someone straight to the edge of existence. So buckle up, because we're diving into the 5 most violent and brutal knockouts that made UFC history. And trust me, these aren't for the faint of heart. At first, let's talk about James Irvin's flying knee of doom, because honestly, that's what it felt like. If you've never seen it, you're missing out on one of the most jaw-dropping, spine-chilling moments in UFC history. We're talking about UFC 54, when Irvin decided to send Terry Martin into another dimension in just 9 seconds of the second round. And it wasn't with a punch or some fancy submission. The second it landed, Martin was out, lights off, brain rebooting. Imagine being Terry Martin for a second. You're in the middle of a fight, thinking you're still in it. And then, wham! Out cold. He didn't even have time to process what was happening before his body hit the floor like a sack of potatoes. Seriously, he folded like laundry before he even touched the ground. It was brutal. And the crowd? Absolute mayhem. You could feel the collective gasp of disbelief in the arena. Even the commentators were stunned, like, did that really just happen? Poor Terry Martin, though. You don't just walk away from something like that and act like it's business as usual. Nope. After that, Martin was never quite the same. And honestly, who could blame him? That knee might as well have come with a side of trauma. Irvin, on the other hand, instantly became a UFC legend. Irvin's flying knee is the kind of knockout that doesn't just define fights. It defines careers, and not always in a good way. But hey, if you thought James Irvin's flying knee was crazy, wait till you hear about the time Tank Abbott basically turned John Matua into a human action figure at UFC 6. We're talking July 1995, the early Wild West days of the UFC, where anything could happen. And it often did. Tank Abbott, a guy who looked like he could bench press a pickup truck just for fun, came into this fight like a wrecking ball with one mission: obliterate Matua as quickly as humanly possible. And boy, did he succeed. The moment that bell rang, you could just feel it in the air. Abbott was not there to mess around. One punch, one single earth-shaking punch, was all it took for Matua's body to completely short-circuit. We're not talking about a regular knockout where the guy just drops. No, Matua's body seized up, arms stiff, legs straight, like he was frozen mid-dance move. It was honestly the kind of knockout that makes you question your life choices as a fan. You're watching, and suddenly your body tenses up, because let's be real, nobody should be able to punch someone so hard they turn into a mannequin. Meanwhile, Abbott's career launched into orbit. He became an instant UFC star, feared and respected. Mostly feared. That punch cemented him as one of the toughest brawlers in the early days of the UFC. And honestly, that KO is still one of the most talked about in UFC lore, mostly because of how brutally fast it all went down. But wait, if you think that's bad, we gotta talk about Gabriel Gonzaga's head kick KO of Mirko "Crow Cop" Filipovic. Now, if you know anything about Crow Cop, you know this guy was the head kick master. Like, his head kicks were what legends were made of. People would legit flinch watching his highlight reels. But at UFC 70, in April 2007, the universe decided it was time for some cruel irony. Enter Gonzaga. Now, Gonzaga wasn't exactly the flashy guy everyone was talking about before this fight. He was more like, oh yeah, Gonzaga's fighting cool. But what did Gonzaga do that night? Instant career-defining moment. He threw a head kick that would have made Crow Cop proud. Except it was aimed at Crow Cop's head. Gonzaga KO'd the head kick king with his own weapon. You can't make this stuff up. Crow Cop dropped like a sack of bricks. But here's the real kicker. When he hit the canvas, his leg folded underneath him like a pretzel.
Mirko looks tentative, though. Oh,
my God! Oh, my God! I cannot believe that!
Incredible! Head kick knockout!
Now, we are moving into something that will make you want to look away while also keeping you glued to the screen. Because Rich Franklin's knockout of Nate Quarry at UFC 56 was that kind of moment. We're talking November 2005. And Franklin decided to send Quarry into another dimension with a punch that didn't just knock him out. It made his whole body freeze up like someone hit pause on a video game. I'm not exaggerating here. The second that punch landed, Quarry went from fighter to mannequin in 0.2 seconds. His arms, his legs, everything just locked up, and he tipped over like a statue that had lost its balance. The fall was straight up iconic. Quarry fell backward like someone had hit him with a taser, completely stiff, arms and legs stretched out like he was practicing his planking skills mid-fight. And let me tell you, the visual of that fall, it's burned into UFC fans' memories forever. For Franklin, this wasn't just another win. It was his "I've arrived" moment. The timing on that punch was like something out of a slow-motion action scene. Except it was real, and it was brutal. You can't teach that kind of precision. Franklin landed a punch so perfectly that Quarry's body just shut down. No rebooting, no recovery. Just lights out. This is the kind of knockout every fighter dreams about, but only a few ever pull off. And Franklin was one of the lucky, or maybe skilled ones to make it happen. But if you thought that was a gut punch, let's shift gears to Dan Hornbuckle's nasty head kick, KO of Akihiro Gono at Sengoku 9 in 2009. Now Hornbuckle wasn't exactly a household name before this, but after that night, oh man, he was on everyone's radar. We're talking about a head kick so fast, so out of nowhere, that even Gono didn't know what hit him. 1 second, he's in the fight, and the next, lights out. His body collapsed to the canvas faster than fans could even process what just happened.
So he's probably a little bit conscious about that. Probably a little tired. Oh my God.
It's over! It's over! It's good night, Irene! Gono is laid out cold! Unbelievable!
The speed of that kick was almost supernatural. It hit so quick that the audience didn't even have time to gasp. It was like blink, and Gono's down. And the arena, dead silent for a split second because no one could believe what they'd just seen. By the time Gono's body hit the mat, people were still catching up with the fact that the fight was already over. And then comes the roar of the crowd when they realize Hornbuckle just pulled off one of the cleanest head kick KOs ever. For Hornbuckle, this fight was a game changer. Before this KO, he was the guy only hardcore MMA fans knew about. But after, he was the guy who knocked out Gono with a head kick that will forever be replayed in highlight reels. The precision, the timing, the sheer force behind that kick. It was a textbook example of how dangerous and beautiful a perfectly placed strike can be. Gono, on the other hand, yeah, this was the beginning of the end. He was expected to win that fight, but instead, he got laid out by a kick he never saw coming. None of those fighters could have ever guessed we'd still be talking about them all these years later. That's the beauty of combat sports. The knockouts, the moments, they stick with us forever. They're unforgettable and kinda weirdly inspiring, right? So if you want more of these wild flashbacks and epic moments, hit that subscribe button, throw a like on this video, and let's keep reliving the chaos together.